Thursday morning, right here in Lagos, Nigeria. Great to have you join us. Good morning, good evening, wherever in the world you're watching from. It's Business Morning, live on Channels Television. I'm Ladi Williams. First off, let's take a look at what's in the news. Executive Secretary of the National Sugar Development Council, Mr. Zach Adedeji, says operators in the nation's sugar industry will now receive raw sugar import quota based on quarterly performance in the implementation of backward integration programs. Speaking at a meeting with key players in the sugar industry in Abuja, Mr. Adedeji tasked the operators on the actualization of the nation's drive towards self-sufficiency in sugar production. He further reassured Nigerians of the availability of sugar in the country. And the Ghana-Nigeria Business Council and the Ghana Investment Promotion Center have held its maiden edition of the CEO Forum in Nigeria. The first day is holding in Lagos, while day two will take place in Abuja today. The program is aimed at promoting trade relations between West Africa's two largest economies and provide the necessary support for interested parties to set up trade in Ghana. Do take a listen.
Both of us. 2 years ago, Ghanaians came to the trade fair. Last year they didn't come, but 2 years ago they came and the border was closed. And we, as Nigeria-Ghana Business Council, ensured that those goods were actually passed through the borders. So I think if the two countries work together, we can achieve it, especially through the business councils. Because there's Ghana-Nigeria Business Council, we are Nigerian-Ghana Business Council. So we work together, there are a lot we can achieve together with the support of our various countries through the Ministries of Trade, Foreign Affairs, and the High Commissions.
When we close our borders, and when I say we, I mean governments, all governments close their borders, it affects every aspect of the economy. Aside from that, the COVID-19 too was a contributing factor. Now that it is coming down because people are getting vaccinated and observing COVID protocols, I believe that it will pick up. And such forums like this, we need more forums like this. As it has happened in Nigeria, we expect the Nigerian Chamber of Commerce also to go to Ghana to organize similar, to educate the business people as to how to facilitate businesses in both countries.
All right, now for commodities market update, we see oil recovered some of more than 2% fall in Asian trade on Thursday. We see U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude is trading down 0.7% at $92.98 a barrel, after earlier falling more than 2%. Brent crude was trading down 0.6% at $94.02 a barrel, after also dropping earlier by over 2%. All right, let's bring it to maybe Iyeke now join us right here in the studio, Financial Directors Company Analyst. Great to have you. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, so not to sound, quite insensitive, but it seems like the oil bulls would rather have tensions between Ukraine and Russia escalate, so they can get their $100 per barrel.
Well, I wouldn't say that exactly, but I would say that a lot of countries are benefiting from higher oil prices than oil prices, falling below what it is currently. The truth is, a lot of countries like Saudi Arabia, Russia, and other top, oil-producing countries benefit from oil prices, even though they are at $40 or even $30 per barrel. This is because their break-even point is way lower. But this is more beneficial to other followers in the OPEC cartel, like Nigeria. So if oil prices are trading at $90 per barrel, 92, 93, 96, or even close to 100, it does them a lot more good, than other oil-consuming countries. So, but what has been happening clearly is that as the tensions are easing, we're seeing oil prices lose some steam. Not so much, not significant enough to, make OPEC to allow OPEC make a statement, or to say, or for Saudi Arabia to make a statement or something. But what we're seeing is that as the tensions are easing, the bears are beginning to, pick up the pace a little bit. And, Saudi Arabia right now is, has maintained its pact with Russia. And Russia accounts for about 10% of global oil supply. So with this tension easing, it clearly means that oil supply could, increase. So these are the speculations right now.
So
Oil
it's like
supply,
a opposite
yeah,
direction.
exactly, exactly.
If tensions ease,
Yes.
prices
Yes,
go down. If
exactly.
tension escalates,
The prices would go up. So, and the U.S. has been, trying to get Saudi Arabia and OPEC to increase prices because right now it is more of a bad thing for them, than a good thing. And that's because stockpiles are down. Higher energy prices, or higher gasoline prices rather, is happening in the U.S. and this is affecting, excuse me,
Sorry.
this is affecting Biden's poll. So all of this put together, also considering the fact that this is also affecting China, affecting India. So the truth of the matter is that if this trend continues, if higher oil prices continues, we could see some responses from top oil consuming countries. Earlier, late last year, we saw that China was making plans to release oil from its strategic reserves. So if this continues, we could see that response again from them. But generally, as the tensions are easing, this is definitely going to, have some impact on oil prices. It might not be significant to bring oil prices below what it is currently, maybe till around $93 per barrel, $90 per barrel. That's going to be where it could fall to, but nothing too...
nothing too drastic.
Yeah, nothing too drastic, exactly.
But I see analysts still, see $100 in the horizon and actually believe that it's going to hit,
Yeah, of course,
soon.
that's a very short-term, a very, very short-term outlook. And that's because, Saudi Arabia is not producing as much. They're just producing about 10 million barrels per day compared to what they could produce, which is about 12 million barrels per day. OPEC is still very conservative in its stance. Demand is still very high. So all signals are pointing towards that $100 benchmark being hit, but it's not going to be sustained for a very long time.
Right, because I don't know. I feel in my mind, once it hits, that amount, maybe 99,
99.9.
99.9, maybe you might see a massive pullback from there.
No, maybe not
kind
massive.
of
Maybe not
resistance.
massive because the global economy is recovering. So there is definitely high demand, and supply is not exactly what it used to be. So the supply deficit will definitely keep oil prices high, but not as high as $100 per barrel. So even if we hit $100 per barrel, maybe in a few days' time, or in a week's time, or in a few weeks' time, it will come down, but not, so significant that the oil markets would jump.
But what do you think? Now, let's fast forward, end of the year.
End of the year. End of the year, definitely, I think that the global economy will rebalance itself. And that's because, the economy is recovering. Several developed economies are already recovering. We've seen record growth, compared to 2020. From advanced economies like China, the Eurozone, and the US. That is definitely going to have some impact, in the oil space, the oil market. Other followers within the cartel, like Nigeria, would still struggle with production, and that's because they're not meeting their quota currently, and they have to do a lot more to generate revenue in terms of oil production. Excuse me.
Sorry,
Yeah, so all of those things are going to definitely continue to play out. But when we put the supply and demand dynamics together, we'll definitely see more, demand coming. But I mean, we can't be so certain. The oil market is very, very sensitive to different changes. Even in China, if the Chinese government says something, we see an impact in global energy markets. So
yeah, and talking about global growth, I see that's the only goodie.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have there, and we see that the EIU have revised global growth forecast to about 4.2%. For 2022. That's good news.
Yeah, it's good news. I mean, it's not only, the EIU that has come out to be optimistic about global growth. The World Bank has said, something similar, IMF as well, even the OECD as well. So everyone has somewhat of an optimistic outlook for the global economy. And why is that? pretty simple because demand, and the global economy is recovering as fast as it can. The Omicron variant didn't have that much impact on advanced economies. We're seeing growth from different economies. Even developing economies are recovering. We're seeing some of the SSA countries recover, maybe not as fast, but we're seeing something significant happen compared to the pandemic year and even compared to the beginning of 2021. So that plus the fact that we're seeing some level of monetary policy tightening, signals of that. So we're seeing an increase in investment inflows in various countries. So all of that put together, the fact that stimulus packages are still available, vaccine rollouts are still there, businesses have reopened. So all of this put together will continue to keep all multilateral agencies, economic agencies, optimistic about the global economy.
All right. Aside, inflation and the Omicron variants, these two headwinds, what are the risks on the horizon?
We have basically for risks. You mean for the global economy,
right?
Yeah,
for the global economy.
There are quite a number of them. This Russian-Ukraine tensions, if they escalate, will definitely have some impact. The US-Iran nuclear talks, that would also have an impact. So the risk of that is a significant increase in oil supply, which could make oil prices bearish, and we see a significant market reaction from both supply side and the demand side. Another risk would be a severe outbreak from developing economies. Generally we haven't seen so much of an increase in fatality and infection rates from Africa. But imagine if that happens. Africa has one of the biggest, Africa has a lot of, people in the world. So if that happens, that would definitely have a significant impact on that. And another thing would be an increase in debt levels for both advanced economies and developing economies. So that also has that would definitely have some impact. That's
on another big elephant.
Yes, that's another, room. Exactly. Yeah. Another thing would be maybe if the dollar loses some steam, or if it gains very well. The reason being that the global commodities market is pegged to the dollars, and several economies have pegged their, external reserves or their currency to the dollar. So if anything happens with the US economy and the dollar either loses some steam or gains significantly, it would definitely tell on several economies as well. So those are some other potential risks.
All right, and talking about inflation, we see Nigeria's inflation rate dropped marginally. But we also see UK inflation hitting a 30-year high.
Exactly. So we're back to that discrepancy between Nigeria's inflation numbers and what the global economy is saying. The unfortunate thing is that, this just increases investor skepticism. Why? Because businesses are not able to really tell where the economy is going if what the market is saying and what the global economy is saying is different from what the numbers are saying. So it definitely affects projections, and this is the beginning of the year. So if at the beginning of the year we're seeing some disparity or divergence between, business operations, revenue levels, and then inflation, and also issues concerning the exchange rate, it definitely would affect business confidence into the Nigerian economy. It would affect investment inflows. The consumer, most importantly, will continue to be, will continue to feel the brunt of this, because even at 15.6%, inflation in Nigeria is still very high. It's above the 12% benchmark. The CBN has said if inflation is above 12%, it means it's growth retarding. So with that definitely says a lot about what's happening with the economy. And it's not far from the truth. We're not seeing business activities boom as much as before. If anything, we're seeing a lot of signals for divestments because the business environment is extremely tough. On the consumer end as well, people are still paying more because their income is not increasing. So at 15.6%, your income is still very low compared to what you were earning, maybe a year or even 2 years ago. So people are still paying more. And
the man hours lost to this current scarcity right now.
Exactly. So the economy is pretty tough. Excuse me.
Sorry.
The economy is pretty tough for everyone. And with inflation at this level, basically, we'll definitely see more people fall below the poverty line. Earlier in the year, I think that was in January or early this February, the World Bank stated that about 8 million more Nigerians are falling below the poverty line, and that increases our, poverty headcount ratio to about 101 million Nigerians. That's over 50% of, Nigeria's population living below the poverty line, and most of these people are youths who are either unemployed or underemployed. So a lot of things are, not exactly in favor of the consumer right now.
Yeah.
And with the fuel scarcity and other factors, pointing towards a further increase in inflation, it just, raises a big question mark on what the data is saying.
Yeah, and, one of the downers on the slide is President Buhari submitted a 3 trillion naira supplementary budget, and this is a time where our debt to revenue ratio is really high.
Well, it was pretty much expected since there was really no provision for under recoveries, that's subsidies now, in the 2022 budget and even in the 2021 budget. So with the fact that the government has pulled back on, removing fuel subsidies completely, it means that they have to make provision for it. The truth is, with this happening, it definitely would eat into government revenue completely. NNPC as well would, be financially strained because of this, because they, pay the bulk of the fuel subsidies. It's just going to keep, the loop is just going to keep, keep going. Means that government will have to scout for revenue. We've seen aggressive tax, systems come into play. That might continue. Not only that, the government will have to seek for external borrowing, and this just increases our, excuse me,
sorry, yeah.
It just increases our debt levels.
Yeah.
I remember earlier in the year, the Financial Times released a report saying that China is already reducing its lending to African countries because of the risk of debt defaults. So with that happening, the IMF as well is, also being very stringent on its rules concerning loans, concerning giving loans to African countries, and Nigeria is part of this country. So
Africa might need to look inward.
Exactly.
At this
so,
point.
and looking inwards right now to generate revenue, we have to look at what is actually sustainable.
Yes.
Even if we have companies, we have to look at their capacity. How much more can these companies take? Because they're paying CIT over 30%, VAT 7.5%, new digital tax of 6%, the sugar tax, so all of these things put together.
Quite a grim picture.
Exactly. So, and when we look at the fact that SMEs are still not, the small-scale businesses are still not booming as well. They are, fighting or literally struggling to pick up the pace since after the pandemic and even in 2021. Okay. So it's just going to be, a very difficult situation.
All right, I'll just hold on to this goodie right here, the only one you have on your slide, improved global growth, positive for international trade.
Yes.
I'll hold on to that. All right, Dumebi Yeke, analyst, financial derivatives company. Great to have you today.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll take a moment now. All right, welcome back. Sorry for the audio issues we had previously. All right, we have Dr. Henry Ewunonu, now public health consultant. Dr. Ewunonu, I don't know if you can hear me now. Can you speak to me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, I was asking before about, the CBN's 100 billion naira intervention fund, for the healthcare as a sector. I want you to, paint a picture of the impact so far, and the accessibility to these funds.
Well, thank you for having me. I think you permit me to give a line on the first question you put forward.
Right.
Which is the state of the health sector in Nigeria. It is not something we are proud of. From every ranking system, Nigeria has not done well. To make it worse, all the 6 pillars with which health is evaluated globally, the 6 building blocks of health system strengthening in Nigeria is scoring abysmally low in all this. To worsen it, we don't have the resources to up our game. To make it worse again, we have epidemiological jeopardies. We are battling with existing infections because that's what is killing our people, infections. Then there are re-emerging infections, and we are now acquiring the disease of the white man, those non-communicable diseases. Today we are hearing that people are having heart attacks. When I was in medical school, we were told that heart attacks are rare in the Africans. So the health sector is in a terrible state, point of precipice. That's it. So it needs urgent rescue. And that was why in March 2020, the Central Bank of Nigeria had to make that intervention. First of all, they realized that whatever that is needed to help Nigeria cope with the pandemic was lacking. Again, there are these statistics that Nigerians were spending up to $1.5 billion abroad for medical treatment. And the reason that if we now provide better healthcare facilities at home, if we retain our very highly trained professionals here, perhaps that $1.5 billion spent abroad for medical treatment could be retained in-house. So they decided to say, let us plow it back into our system to help with manufacturing of those things we need, medical equipment, drugs, and vaccines. That was the reason why for this CBN intervention. Dr. Jimmy, my colleague on this program, will be better because being a private health practitioner, he will know. But my research says whereas some people, some industry players like the pharmaceutical companies can say, yes, they've accessed these funds. It has not been easy for the ordinary private healthcare professional that owns one private clinic, 20-bedded hospital, 30-bedded hospital, 10-bedded hospital, to access these funds. There are many checkpoints on the road, and time is fast racing. There is a ceiling on the amount of money that can be withdrawn or the credit facility that can be given. It is domiciled in Naira. Every day, the foreign exchange rate is changing, making nonsense of that amount. No particular organization or individual can access more than 2 billion naira as a term loan. Even those who just want upgrade of their facilities as some other, because there are several tenures in this loan. 500 million naira is just a ceiling. So if the exchange, consider what the exchange rate was in March 2020, consider what it is now. So time is going. There are many, because there are medium, whatever you want to do.
All right, Dr. Another issue, again, is health insurance. You know, there were reports, that healthcare providers were planning to, jettison all contracts with private health insurance companies across the country. What's the state of that issue right now?
As you know, we have not been able to say exactly how much lives have been insured by the National Health Insurance Scheme. But there are other forms of insurance. Some private insurance companies are also insuring lives. By and large, the only way, since we are discussing in the context of the CBN interventions, the only way to make these interventions worthwhile is to create more markets. If we have more individuals that will seek Medicare, that can afford it, that can access it easily, that have where to go to access it, the more they will utilize the health services, the more funds could be recouped to repay back, and the more funds will be available for others to utilize the credit facilities. The health insurance, since 2005, it was launched in Nigeria, we have not gone beyond 5% of Nigerians. It's still a public sector based. And the act, the amendment bill is awaiting Mr. President's consent. Let me use the opportunity again to call on the presidency to please ensure that this bill that will now make health insurance compulsory in Nigeria is signed without any further delay. Other countries have achieved this. Nigeria started this health insurance at the same time with Ghana. Ghana has done over 85%. Nigeria is hovering below 5%. This is not good news. So the more we have number of people that can access, that have removed financial encumbrances, from accessing medical care, the more the number of people that these funds made available will become very useful to.
All right, then I'd also like to ask you, the role of banks, when it comes to disbursement of these funds, the interventions by the CBN.
Yes, like I pointed out, CBN created the role for what they call participating financial institutions. These participating financial institutions are deposit money banks or development financial institutions, and they are profit-oriented enterprises. So what I don't know is whether CBN has factored their own profits into this. For instance, if I run a private hospital and I want 500 million from the CBN fund, how much of this will be taken out as interest to the commercial bank, my bank? Because no individual can go straight to CBN. You have to go through a commercial bank or another financial institution. What will be their profit? What will be their own, in the Nigerian sense, the cut from this? So wherever there are middlemen, there are encumbrances that will ensure that the end beneficiary gets less than what he should get. That's my answer to this.
All right, Dr. Harry Owenon. Well, a report, from about 2018 showed that over 90% of Nigerians, pay for health services out of pocket, and it would be necessary to change that and reverse that situation. Dr. Henry Owenon, a public health consultant, I want to thank you so much for coming on Business Morning.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
And also, Dr. Adeyeye Aribabuwo, we had issues with you there, but thank you also for coming in earlier. All right, now let's see what's happening with the markets. Anyete, how's it looking?
Good morning, Ladi. The markets, we're starting with the equities markets. Midweek transactions is still in the green. That's for a second day, but it's still by a mild margin, but slightly higher than what we had on Tuesday's trading session. So this is how it turned out at the close of midweek trading session yesterday. 28 billion naira is what was added to this amount that we have as at the close of Wednesday's trading session. Then, of course, interestingly, it was on the back of the increase in the share price of Airtel Africa. Of course, that is now the most valuable equity on the NGX. So, month to date, we're up at we're up about 1%, and then year to date, we're up by 10.3%. But taking a look at the sectoral performance, it was a bloodletting, if I would call it that way, but all of the sectors were in the red, no thanks to profit-taking on the sides of investors. So they decided to take out some of the profits that they had, on some of the listed equities there. Now, in terms of the activity was kind of impressive in contrast to what we had in Tuesday's session. Volume was up by 16.07%. The value was also up by a wider margin of more than 116%. But when you take a look at the deals, the number of deals was down by 6.87%. This is what it turned out at the close of yesterday's trading session. So we will be having market analyst Richard Akimoladu, who is from CSL Securities, to talk to us more about that market. But in the meantime, let's just flip over to the smaller unlisted securities market. There you have it. This is how it turned out yesterday, a massive downturn on that market, which means that investors really took advantage of some gains, but then that impact pulled the NESD's security index all the way from what it was before to this level as at the close of Wednesday's trading session. Also, when you take a look at the activity there, it was not too much of activity there, reduced volume, value, as well as the number of deals. Now, so now we have Richard Akimoladu online now to tell us more about the equities market. Thank you for joining us, Richard.
Thank you, Anita, for having me this morning.
So we are halfway in the first quarter of 2022, and I know that some companies are yet to release their full-year earnings results. Some of them releasing the fourth quarter results. So is this having any impact on the market, especially when you take into consideration that we will sometime in the end of this quarter, we should be expecting the first quarter results?
So far, we've seen a couple of results being released to the market, and looking at these numbers, majority of them are very impressive. Though the majority of them are yet to actually send their dividend news to the market. So the market is waiting on that, and we might see another sort of rally in the market by the time we see all this dividend news in the market.
Okay, so far this week, the month of February, of course, we are in the half of, February is 28 days, but it's still safe to say that we're in the half of February. So far, the market is not all that vibrant compared to January. So what can you attribute to this?
So comparing what we're having in the month of February to January, so January, we saw a lot of positive movement in the market due to the fact that investors are trying to position for dividend-paying stocks, considering their Q3. So then we are yet to see their full-year results. But if you look at their Q3, it will actually show you the direction in which all these companies are going and the kind of final result that you're going to see from them. So we saw a lot of positioning in January, but now that has fizzled out, and people are waiting. Investors are waiting for the dividend news. As I've said, we've seen some impressive results from the like of Fresco, Como, and also we are waiting for results from tier 1 banks, the like of GT, Zenith. Though their result is with the CBN now, they're just waiting for approval. So I think that will spur some activities going to next week by the time we see all these results and dividend news coming to the market.
Okay. Thank you for that analysis, Richard, and definitely we will keep our eyes out. We'll continue to keep our eyes out for the market. So, Ladi, I would have given you more information.
Well, it looks like most markets are looking for direction right now. Global markets, crypto markets, all of them looking for direction. We'll see what direction the NGX, follows in this month of February. All right, Nita, thank you for the analysis there. All right, after the break, we'll head on to London. That's in a moment. Do stay with us. All right, let's take a look at what's happening in the UK. We have Juliana there. Great to have you, Juliana. Well, I see UK exporters, they say the government's Brexit trade deal is bad for business. Research found that many firms believe the EU trade deal was not helping them grow or increase sales. I guess Brexit is still weighing there.
Yeah, Brexit is still weighing, Laddie. The British Chamber of Commerce, they conducted a survey earlier this year, really having a snapshot of what small to medium-sized businesses in the UK are feeling after the Brexit deal. The latest data revealed that last year, about £20 billion was lost of UK trade to the EU, and this is really hurting businesses. They've described higher costs, the drain of your bureaucracy, and dwindling of EU customers.
Yeah, and let's look at some M&A news there. See, one of Britain's most successful telecoms entrepreneurs pulled off his latest transformational deal, worth about £210 million to purchase one of its rivals. Tell us about this deal.
Yeah, this is interesting. It's been conducted by Matthew Riley, who is a huge entrepreneur here in the UK. Now, the business is now only second to the BT Group when it contains customers. Over 120,000 customers are signed up to XLN. They look after data security and digital communication. So it's being held today as a really big deal.
All right, Juliana, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk to you later on Business Incorporated.
Thank you.
All right, let's look at what's happening in the crypto world there. We see Bitcoin struggling below the 45,000 resistance against the US dollar. BTC must stay above $43,180 to avoid a sharp decline in the near term. Let's look at the market cap there. We have $1.90 trillion, down about 4.53%. Volume traded, $77.13 billion. It's up about 1.85%. Bitcoin dominance, 41.58%. Let's see, look at the price of Bitcoin, $43,815. It's down about 0.47%, $20.25 billion traded in Bitcoin. Price of Ethereum there, we see $3,090. It's down 1.47%. We see the market is still looking for direction this morning. Let's bring in Bjorn Martens right there now, CEO, Passive Income Token. Hello, Bjorn.
Hey, Ladi, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, so I see CryptoPunks is in the news. I hear the community reacting to the ongoing copyright battle between V1 and V2 CryptoPunks. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, of course. So, yeah, I like the battle scene going on. For me, it's honestly kind of been a little bit clear. Version 1 is wrapped to version 2, so everybody that owned a version 1 CryptoPunk automatically got airdropped to version 2, or could change it to a version 2 CryptoPunk. So with this, you will be owner of version 1 and version 2. If you decide to sell a version 1, you can sell it, and there also needs to be a buyer. So if you don't do your own research and you will buy version 1 for someone, it's not eligible for the version 2, as they already received the version 2. But the labs, Larva Labs, really have said version 1 is not safe anymore. There's an exploit, so we need to move over to the version 2. So for my clarity, it's definitely going to be version 2 that's going to be having a value. It's really controversial that they have sold 210 Ethereum worth of the version 1 CryptoPunks. But yeah, there also still again needs to be a buyer on the other side. And if you are, sorry, I'm going to say it too, not clever enough.
So if I bought V1, what happens to me?
If you buy V1 and there are other people in the world that see the value behind V1, there's no issue. At the moment, V1 really dropped in value, as V2 is the new one that really has the back of Larva Labs. So if you buy version 1, there's a high risk of decrease in value. But lately, the community itself starts supporting the version 1. So now again, you have a chance because Larva Labs doesn't control it anymore, and the community itself will put up the price.
All right, so another bullish news I saw today, I saw the New York Stock Exchange had filed a trademark application for trading NFTs, and this is the world's largest stock exchange. You know, it may be planning, you know, to bring a business to the metaverse, like other massive companies we're seeing out there.
Yes, I'm really happy, honestly, to see this happen, as they really want to have their name already secured. Their certain trademark already be ready, basically, for when they're going to take a step into this metaverse and crypto space. And taking these steps, you see that the real big boys are now stepping into the space, and it really gives another level of verification that crypto is here to stay and to develop and to grow a lot in the future.
Well, Bjorn, do you really see, you know, the metaverse actually, you know, bringing value to most of these companies?
Yeah, so there is a whole new world created inside of the metaverse. There's a lot of activity in these worlds. So, for example, for these worlds to be active in Decentraland, there's a lot of marketing, basically, awareness. They're getting seen. And well, we, the younger people or the new people, we all go in the metaverse, and we love to hang around there and do our thing around there, as we are so used with this technology. And yeah, seeing these big people coming in there is just amazing. And they also need to have us as future clients, of course. So they need to go with the status quo, with what is in these days. And the metaverse is going to be the future. We have all seen the movie Ready Player One. And I think we all want to be part of it.
Right. So now we've had a play to earn. We've had the metaverse, you know, still moving strong right now. What is the next trend, and how do you get in early?
The next trend definitely, play to earn just started. Metaverse has been around a little bit, but there are no real huge projects yet that really got created as the cost of creating a game, metaverse, are really high, and it's very complicated. It's a whole lot different than creating certain simple tokens, etc. So the beautiful thing about the play-to-earn metaverse concept is that it's not exaggerated. So the market stays very healthy in these kind of levels, and when there are certain play-to-earn metaverse projects, I'm sure in 2022 they're going to be the one to look out for.
Right. All right. Beyond, I know I'm sure you've been, tracking Bitcoin for a couple of days now. Bitcoin has not given us a direction. We don't know if it's going up or down, but it's been playing around that 41,000 to 45,000 level. What are your expectations for Bitcoin in the short term?
And now, so we've been lately as well looking. We have the TV hanging up here with Bitcoin prices all the time, and I also do my research and technical analysis. And honestly, yesterday we broke the bearish line since roughly 4 months, and we finally came in a kind of in a situation where we don't know where Bitcoin is going. But as we can see, the period we have been in a bull run and the market's been growing is so much more longer than we've seen in 2017. So I honestly think the market has changed a lot. Really got more experience, it's aged, why we won't see a huge crash anymore, and Bitcoin is going to grow more steadily, where the big boys are coming in and steadily stepping in as well. As you've seen Warren Buffett investing 2 days ago inside of Bitcoin, with him always being against Bitcoin, and now also decided to step in, as he doesn't want to go with the hype, but he sees the hype stopped and the stability in Bitcoin has been created. And
it's quite interesting.
Using it really gives it now
quite interesting, because the market has changed, from 2017. I guess at some point this market is going to mature, and we might not see as much wild swings as we do see, now in the market. All right, Bjorn Matters, it was great talking to you today. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Ladi. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. All right, let's look at the top odds by market cap. There we see BNB $424 is down about 1.19%. We're seeing, lean losses, around the market with the big caps. Right now we see, look to the top 5 again. We see a rally there. One of the new entries to the top 100 is 33 cents. It's trading at it's up about 10.12%. Dash, one of the OGs in the market from about way before 2017, is trading at $116. Not seen that one on the top gainers for a while now. We see Nexo there, $2.26, up 5.77%. Waves, $10.86. Let's look at the top losers. We see Gala there, topping that count, is down about 5.48%. And we see Axie Infinity and Sandbox there, down about 4.67%. So it's not looking so bad, but it's not fair right now. The market is quite neutral, which is good for most traders. All right, thank you so much for watching. That's a wrap on the program today. Don't forget to join us by 1:30 on Business Incorporated for more updates and developments in the world of business. Thank you for watching. I'm Ladi Williams. Bye-bye.